Hi everyone, today's video is going to be on the Y stand or I stand, or you might also know it as the wine glass position. This is a kind of spiral or pose position for those of you that are dancers that demands a fair bit of flexibility. It's kind of working with the box split, forward, front split position, so middle and front split, depending on where you place the free leg. It's fairly advanced, although there are different grades of how high you're going to get your leg. It does involve quite a lot of core strength. You want to be stable on position off the ice before you really start trying it on the ice. So it's a good one to practice whilst we have all this time. The video is going to involve a little bit of strengthening and also obviously some stretching, and we're going to try and put it all together. So without further ado, the first thing is you must be warmed up before we start on this. So I'd get moving, I'd do some kind of active warm-ups, perhaps try this at the end of a session, a workout, an on-ice session if you're back on the ice. Okay, make sure that you're thin and flexible because it is going to work into your hip joint. So we're going to start by opening out the gate, lifting the knees, warming up that hip area and getting your turnout, particularly for the Y stand position. Okay, we're also going to do a little bit of rocking, a bit of a runner's lunge, rocking forward and back to warm up actively the hamstrings, which is needed for both positions, but in particular for the I stand. So sit into that, stretching out, bringing the body forward, keeping the hips engaged. Okay, and keep it nice and strong. We can lean forward into it. Rest the head to intensify that. So this is more of a mobilising warm-up with out holding. Obviously, to work flexibility, we are going to have to hold some of these stretches. We're going to go into that in a minute, but this is just that first part, that warm-up, where it's a little bit more active. Pushing into those hip flexors there. To really get the most out of these positions, I'd recommend looking at the front splits and box split videos that I've already put up. Have a look at those because they're going to really help you to increase that range of motion and get an even stronger position. This is going to bring in, I do touch on the Y stand in the box split video, but this is going to be a bit more with the strengthening and the stability in the way that I've kind of done in the spiral video. We'll just do a few standing strengthening and stretching. So feet parallel. Okay, I'm going to go onto the mat. Ribs in, hips under, core engaged, so we've got that nice strong solid belly, which you're going to need for the position when you're on the ice. Okay, it's how you hold yourself, it's where your balance comes from. So even when we're doing this little warm up here, I would do this in centre rather than like at the bar or holding onto something, so that we can practice our balance. And we're just going to lift the leg in front. Nice and strong. And then to the side. So that was going forward for the Y stand, and this is to the side. I'm sorry, forward for the I stand, and this is to the side for the Y stand. I'm not taking it excessively high. Okay, this is still a warm up. Okay, so I'm aiming to about 90 degrees. Okay, but my aim, I know over there, is to stay nice and strong. To the back, 10-20 lifts in each. Obviously, the back is more about spirals, but it's just good to work that full range of motion. Make sure it's level. And then the same on the other side. Maintaining that core the whole time, particularly when you're taking the leg to the front and out to the side, because that's where it's going to come from when we do our position at the end. Belly center, or belly button kind of going over the supporting leg. You can bring the body a little bit forward, get a bit of an arch in your back when you take it to the back, because that's warming up more of a spiral, and that would be related to what we're doing. I'm going to go and grab my balance board. Obviously a big part of this is balance. So try these same positions, the same exercise on the balance board, nice and level, weight in the centre of the board, just to continue practicing. Oops. Bring the arms up. To continue practicing that concept and improving the core strength. Okay, so, and as I said, I mean, most things, most positions that we try on the ice can be practiced on the board. It gives you a bit of that rock. A balance board has a kind of rocker, it's not in the same place exactly as the rocker on the blade, but it gives you an idea. It makes you engage those muscles and makes you very aware of the kind of micro movements that your body is making. You can really feel everything going down that supported side. You can feel the stability in the ankle. You can feel your glutes engage as you lift the leg, which it should. Obviously with the ice stand and the waist stand we do use our arms, but when we're doing this we're going to avoid using them, so we're working sheer strength. Okay, always good to do some pull-ups with the knees, so we're going to start to work into that area a little bit more. Before we do that though, we're going to just do the exercise on the floor, so that we're feeling the stretch but not having to hold the posture. So we're just going to pull in to the body, okay, and hold that there, and relax into the body a couple of times. So this is a good sort of pre-skating stretch anyway, to warm it up, open up the hip, and then we can lift up and pull up into that sort of more of a split, kind of relative to the ice stands. Catch the front and hold. This should be done when warm. You can really feel this along your hamstring. Go up. Now we're going to take the hold more like an ice stand. So we're going to go opposite hand to foot. So we're crossing the body and then stretching out. So usually we hold here, but for this, you can hold that, people do. But if you were holding the blade, you're more likely to crisscross. And you're going to find that you're just waking up that glute as well a little bit. Point the toe you're standing or flex it. It is more relative to skating. And we're getting that crisscross position. Do the same with the other one, so just a few pulls in, gently, not too much, opening up that hip flexor, then stretching up, and then we can take it into the crisscross. And then we can do the same at the side. We're going to just pull up, up, so with the knees are kind of out to the side in a turn-out position. Before we do that, do some butterfly. Just sit with the butterfly and let gravity do the work and drop your hips. So we're pulling out. That's going to be our natural turn-out. When we do our waist down, we're going to go along a natural turn-out. We're not going to force it to 180 unless we're actually at 180. Just let it drop, warm it up, let it work into there. And then you can do straighten one leg and pull up gently along there. We are going to do all these stood up in a sec. This is just to give you a feeling of the stretch before we engage the core strength, which we're now going to do. So, first things first, stood flat on the floor. We'll just do the pull up, pull up, pull up. We're not going to go for the full position yet. We're just going to get that pull into the hips. Okay, and on the last one, before I change actually, hold it, hold the core, engage, focus on your balance, and the same. So much of I stands and Y stands is balance. I see a lot of people that have got the flexibility but simply can't hold it, so the strengthening is an important part, the awareness of the core is an important part. I'm going to take it to the side. Now there is a point where it lifts quite easily and it doesn't hurt to lift. That's where you should be working your Y stand from. So wherever that turnout is, there's a natural point that will give you a little bit more height in that lift without any discomfort, any real discomfort. Okay, it certainly shouldn't be painful. You might feel it a bit, but it shouldn't hurt. And there is like a sweet spot. Kind of play with your turnout, find out where that is, because that's where you're going to work along to then développé the foot. When we do a Y stand, it is like a développé in ballet. Développé means to develop, and it's basically an unfolding. Okay, noise was that was my dog just walking around in the background. Okay, so when we come to our Y stand, it is like a développé in ballet. You could actually do some. I would do développé holding a bar, so I'm just going to grab a chair. So you can stand in like a third position, pull to passe, which is toe to kind of up around the knee, and then we can unfold forward and taking front and lower down. So we're doing this in slow motion, to the side, développé to go to passe, and then développé out. And here the beauty is that we're not holding on with the free arm, so the leg can still stay behind for like spiral as well. And by doing it without holding, we're working the muscles. If we then hold there, admittedly it's not as high as we're going to want it for our stand, but you're strengthening along that quad, along the hamstring, and through the core, and focusing on that posture, represent hips under. Same thing to the side, and take the arm up, and enveloppe back in, and then to the back, because it's always good to work it to the back, even though it's not so relevant to the position. Okay, so the bar shouldn't be being gripped. It's just there, the chair, whatever you're using, it's just there as a bit of kind of moral support really, that allows you to really focus positions. As you lower the foot, do it slowly, so don't let it sort of thud down, but we développé out, come to that point that we pulled into there, as we, and then lower down gently. Strengthen, feel it in the glute, feel it in the core, and lower gently so everything's under control. We then can try a few in centre, so at this point we're really focused on our own strength, holding, maintain my posture, keeping level. You see ballet dancers that've got these incredible extensions doing this, and I've got so much admiration because it's hard. Okay, but pull it up to the passe, to three, and then pull out. Passe retiré. Passe means it's passing through, so it's like in motion, which is really what we're doing. The side and to the back. Retiré is that same position, but held there. So we're doing passe through retiré. Then of course, if you want to, if you have one, if you're feeling strong and stable, test your balance on the balance board. And do the same. So let's hold it, strengthen, you can really feel it working. Okay, one of the best ways to build this position. Again, working for spiral, it's good to work that back position even though it's not a Y stand or an I stand, because it's going to improve your spiral. It's also good to work both feet, even if you think, well, I'm only going to do my I stand spin on my right foot because it's pretty much always done for back spin. It's basing you on spinning the normal way. Still work both sides because it's good to have it in your repertoire, even if it's just as a pose or as a position. Okay, the more equal you are on both sides, the better your skating is going to look. The more balanced, the more options you have choreographically when we put together a program. It's good to have a skater that can go, as a coach, if I've got a skating code, well I can do it on my left or my right foot, then I've got choices to build as a choreographer, to build in any pattern, rather than going, oh right, okay, I've got to turn it so it goes that way around the rink, and then I've got to make sure that I turn another bit so that I'm not everything's going one way around, because something we look for in choreography is multi-directional skating. That's in your GOVs, it's in your components, particularly in your components. They're looking to prove that you can do things, you can use and skate equally both ways. So to have everything, to be able to do a teapot on both sides, to be able to do a spiral on both feet, to be able to do a Y stand and I stand on both feet, just gives more choreographic options and a better balance to your skating. So still work both, even though one will feel easier. Right, we're going to continue with some core strengthening. Okay, we're going to, I don't know what we did. We're going to go onto a demi point or a releve. Okay, just hold yourself there and strong, stand nice and tall, pulling up and being very aware of your balance. This is in a different point to actually in the Y stand, but it's forcing you into a more shaky position. Okay, it's strengthening the ankles and it's really focusing on your alignment. Okay, and your posture. You can turn out into a first as well. And keeping it strong. Engaging the glute, nice and still. You can focus on the legs working. Obviously, an I stand or a Y stand are forms of spirals or pose, or attitude poses essentially. So they're going to be done on straight legs, which is unusual in skating. So it's good to work the calves, do some releves, but mainly get that hold in releve there, so that the calves are extended and working, because that is kind of, although you're not on your toes, you are going through a straight supporting leg, which is not something we often do in skating, so it's good to work that. See if you can practice it. Stood on the toes on one foot as well in a turnout. Okay, you can pull it up, do a releve, and the same thing on the other foot. Demi point. So it's core, it's balance, and it's so important for building your I stand or your Y stand. Of course, you can, once you're kind of fairly confident with that, you can try it on the balance board. We'll do it, start with coupe first, which is just that low position, and then you can pull it up, and you can open it out in front of you, all on demi point and retire, passe, and out. So the same exercise is done on demi point, and you can really work on your stability here. This type. You should only be trying this once you're confident. Coupe, passe, retire, and out, and out. Of course, you can take it to the side. I think I missed that on the other foot. But you should only be doing it on demi point once you're nice and secure on flat. Okay, other good strengthening exercises. It is good to just be able to hold a plank, ribs in, hips under, glutes engaged, nice, strong, straight back. Okay, and we're going to just take, I'm going to turn myself around actually. I'm going to take the knee up to like a mountain climber and hold there, so it's through one foot, and you can really engage your core. And again, as you do that, your back should be straight, bottom in, nice alignment. And then we can do a turned out plank. There, so my knee is opening up and I'm engaging the core. Opposite side. Get the turn out. And you can even do it out to either side. I'm doing really bad with this, but try to breathe through it. It's not easy when you're talking. And then just relax back out. Be in there. We're going to go to a little froggy squat, do a bit more of the stretching, and we're going to do roll it out, and then take it out to the side, and sit into it, and push back. We can get a bit more of a stretch, so that's like a kind of half box split. Work it over, same thing on the other side, sit through. One more strength and vague stretch. We're going to do a seated balance there, and then open out the legs. So we can hold it in front, so this is really working the core. And then we can point up, toes pointed, and open them out. And we're holding and keeping the back nice and strong and straight and engaging. You'll feel the legs really engage, you'll feel the belly engage, the back nice and straight, and we're holding that balance. Keep breathing through it, keep pulling up. Then what we're going to do, come down, just find that froggies or the butterfly. Awesome, open up the hip, wiggle in nice and close, open up nice and strong. And then we're going to actually start to work into, so we're pulling it out to the side and pulling up, starting to stretch out for that Y stand frame, keeping the core strong so we're not hunching or flopping to it or leaning to one side, pulling up strong. You can balance with one hand if you're a little unsteady, but aim to get to the point where you're lifting, or even better, starting to grab over so we can develop further round. Okay, you can push through that hip too, and then take it out to the front and point. Hold it up so it's more like an I stand. And then you'll feel it across the glute. Same thing on the other side. Out to either side, arm up if you can, or if not, balance, but make sure you've got this nice straight line through the torso. Out, and then we can cross it over and we can pull it up in front. You can extend that other leg if you want. We can do this on the floor. We're going to open up the glutes, so we do the crisscross one and push away with this knee, so we're turning out and working the hips, and then we can drop the toes to the floor and push away just to get a bit of a glute stretch. Take it over and then extend it ahead of the face there. So we're in position, opposite hand fit, so I'll show you again with this side. Crisscross, pull it up, push away. I've done explanations of this on other videos. Then we take it over, get to the side, drop it down, and then we can extend it in front of the face. A bit more like a I stand. And of course we can open out to a Y stand on the floor. So here we're focusing more on the stretch, okay, and getting the position. Try to keep the back as straight to the floor as you can so you can focus on that posture. Ribs in, hips pulled up, and we open out. Again, this is the développé like we did in there. So we go up to that pulled up position and then we open out along that line. We can then, if you are feeling flexible, reach over with the opposite hand and go through. And of course everything should be held a little bit longer, but I don't want to make this too long. This video. There was something else I want to do with you. If I get you to stand up. Okay. Now this is a bit of an unusual one. It's gonna stretch the glutes but also make you work your balance. This is actually a really good glute stretch. We're gonna crisscross the foot over, ankle above the knee, just above the knee, and we push down. So this is a balance, but you can feel the glutes work stretching and you'll get nice and strong there. It's also good for working things like your sit variations, and I'm going to wobble to one side. Okay, your sit variations things, but it's also a balance. So we're doing things here that are making you work your core strength as well as your flexibility at the same time. 3. And this is quite tricky. Push the glute out, push the bottom out, forward. You can feel the foot working. Down face dog. Bottom in the air. Reach up to spiral. Turn it out. There. And then open out to the side in a down face dog. Open out. And then up to the side. So again, the upper body's working. Hamstring stretching in that position. Then we open out. And then we développé out. Pull in. and don't flip it out. 80. Okay, and stretch the arms over. You can use straps, okay, if you have them. So ones you can attach to the door. I don't have mine here, but I do have one. Or you could just use a normal sort of stretchy band, and you can sit there and you can take the leg up using the band, and you can pull on it to help you take it a little higher, but make sure you don't go too far. The resistance helps, it helps keep it under control. And you can pull it and get that stretch on. And do the same in front. It can help you support it and lift it a little bit higher. It's another way to bring it. So you just wrap the band around your foot. Basically do some of the same stretches we've already done. The seated ones, and you can do the floor ones, the lying ones. These are ways of making them advanced. So you can do the ones on the floor and pull at the band, pull the strap. Next thing to do, stand on one leg. Nice and simple. This is balance awareness. Just lift it up into a, let's put it into coupe. Oh, it's neutral, you should try both. Neutral more for I stand, coupe for Y stand. And then we'll just shut the eyes and see if you can move. And this is a lot trickier than you. And it sounds, shut the eyes and move. 3. Okay, and this makes you really aware of your centre and holding that back. Ooh, holding that back nice and strong. And again, that's when you can obviously do unbalance ball too, to really enhance your balance and core awareness. So much harder. The most typical thing I see people do that makes I stands or Y stands scary is that they lean too far back. So the weight goes to there and they lose control. It must be strong through centre. So you want to practice just having that nice strong back. It is worth going up against the wall and practicing just good posture against the wall, ribs in, hips under, and keeping strong and feeling your the small of your back straighten out. It's now time to practice the actual position. Start with holding them, hand on the bar. Now, you have choices. A more simple version would be toe catching at the front of the blade, and that can allow you to just open out and get quite a nice position, but it looks a little bit more less sophisticated, sort of more immature, but you can hold it at the front. You can get it fairly high. A more sophisticated position would be to hold the heel. So you take the hand in front of the thigh, behind the ankle, and you hold the heel, the blade, and you can pull it out. And it just looks a little bit neater. You've got a finished line because the toe should be pointing, so you should possibly, before you start this, do some foot articulations and roll throughs, good toes and naughty toes on the floor, that kind of thing, going to the end. Because obviously it finishes it and makes it look even higher still. So, simple one is in front. It's fine. You can get it quite high, but it doesn't. It looks a bit blocked at the end. If you want to make it look more pretty, point the toe, extend the line, and go through and look to it. I stand the same. I stands more holding at the ankle and pulling up. So holding the ankle and then 3. I don't enjoy myself. I don't mind an I stand pose. It's on the backspin. It's not my most flexible side, but it is one to work on. If you want to make it more intense, you should stretch out your splits. I'll go over that in a minute. But before you do, make sure that you can do these balanced in centre, so away from the bar. So hold, go to our retire, catch with your catching toe or heel, arm out, and reach out. And strengthen. There, opposition for your eye stand, and open out. Same thing the other foot in front, so you can do it to the toe and open out. Go back to that retire passe and développé out. Heel catch, opposition for that. Facing strong, ribs in, hips under, facing forward. And of course, same positions on the balance board. Through the retire, développé out. You can then, if you're feeling quite flexible, reach over and change the feet and have the hand, do as you wish with the hand. Come back in, or to the front. Opposition, keeping strong. Developing. Okay, same again side. So ribs in, hips under. Inside. And out. And in front. Open and out. As I said, if you are feeling more flexible, stretch out your splits. See my split tutorials if you're struggling, because this is going to be helping to get that more intense hamstring stretch for your eye stand. Stretch out your box splits. Actually, straddle. Before you do that, I should have mentioned this. Another really important one is to get your straddle and reach over, lean it, and then lean forward. Out. The front's just good to stretch. Not quite so relevant, but we're reaching for our toes, which is obviously where our eye stand or Y stand is coming from. Then in front, face to it, that's more like eye stand, and reach over, which is more like a Y stand. These should all be being held. Okay, longer than I have done. I'll just recap that for you. Just hips forward. We're going to have the quads, the shins, the ankles and foot up. Reach over like Y stand. Reach forward like I stand. All the way through, turn out, also kind of like a Y stand. Forward is just a good hamstring stretch. Keep the back straight, lengthen in away. Forward, or like elbow in front. Roll to it for I stand, and reach over. One last reach forward because it feels good. And then go to your box split. So if we're going for a more intense version. And again, look at my box split video. So we walk down, get that deep hip right now. And reach there. Over. So now we're really working along. And then we can go back and possibly try that hand reach over. So I'm going to do this. Actually no, I'll do it in centre. You can do this holding them, or you can do it in centre. You can start off exactly the same. Through the retire, the passe, open out, and it goes, and we catch the foot over the head, and I can then release that hand. And some people will be able to get it all the way over here and start to lean with it and all kinds of things. Hopefully that's given you some tips, some ideas of stretches and strengthenings to do that can help you achieve that Y stand and I stand position. They are good positions as poses, as spirals, but also to include in spins as well. It is a fairly advanced move. As I said, there's kind of levels towards it, but hopefully you've got something to work on. All right, everyone, stay safe. Bye-bye.